Hello, Free PC Gamers. Shane here. I'm going to be bringing you a game called Dream vs. Dream. Now, this game is based off of the three most popular of the Dreamer series, which is Yume Nikki, Yume Nikki 2 or Yume 2 KKI. I don't really know how you'd say it. It's like 2 and Ni are like the same thing in Japan or something. And Dot Flow. Although there will be cameos from like characters and locations from some of the lesser known games, like LCD DEM, I think Flesh Child, Answered Prayers, LSD Dream Emulator, and so on. Now, I've always been a big fan of the Dreamers series, and I'm really glad to see that this is being set in motion. It started like early 2011 and went into, it's still continuing today, but it's sort of going slow. The alpha releases were actually put out, April of this, or last year, I'd have to check. So far, they have released both, they have released 3 alphas, one for Windows, one for, Apple, and one for Linux. I'd say we're probably going to be taking we're going to be keeping a good eye on this game because updates are going to be sort of sporadic. They're not going to have like a scheduled release like every month, bi-monthly, so on and so forth. I would recommend playing some of the Dream games. One of our friends here on FreePCGamers has already done a video on Yume Nikki, which you can check out. Just simply type it into the bar or check out the FreePCGamers website or the YouTube channel. However, I'll also be doing videos on Dot Flow as well as Yume Nikki 2 sometime in the upcoming week. What else is there? Aside from locations and characters, story won't be entirely... there will be a story mode for probably just the main characters, but there's not going to be as much detail as opposed to like the games individually. So it's not going to be nearly as gory, and it's not going to be nearly as mentally stressing. Now let's actually get into the game, why don't we? The controls will feel a bit weird. It's basically like a 3-button fighter, where player 1 takes control of the arrow keys and N, M, and the colon. Wow, I can't remember comma, chameleon, whatever. And player 2 takes controls of the keys T, F, G, and H to move, sort of like WASD, and uses, I believe, A, S, and D. Now, key binding wise, you're gonna sort of have to deal with this right now. Eventually there will be like better controls, probably, most likely in the options. Now we're on the menu. You can see arcade. That's your basic fighter thing, you know. We go through like 10 or so characters, generally ending in the boss character for each different person. Story mode, like I said, this is going to be a lot closer to each character as opposed to arcade. This is probably going to have like dialogue in between scenes. Versus is your basic fighter. You can do computer versus computer, one versus computer. As of this alpha release, which is version alpha 0.11, there's only 1 versus 2 player. Survival is likely going to be sort of like, just see how far you can go. It's your basic fighter thing. Training is going to help you get better at different controls, find the character you like. Now, there is a netplay option. There just isn't a bunch of content added to netplay. What I mean is, you can connect to other players playing this game. The only issue is, as of right now, it's very, very crude. What that means is it's not going to be like browsers or like server browsers, what I'm trying to say. There's not going to be a list of things you can just click off and go. There isn't going to be like auto matchmaking. You have to have the like IP address and all that good stuff. So as of right now, if you do get the alpha, I wouldn't worry about net play right now. They are going to work on this. Options, let's see. Wow, this is what another thing that's really cool. The menus I'm seeing right now aren't the same ones I saw when I started the game up, because I actually had LSD Dream Simulator, which I saw earlier, as well as it made the same noises from that game. Now difficulty, it's your basic. Lower is weaker, higher is tougher, 3 is the basic. Wins, 2 is default. I like 3 because I like to fight a little bit longer. I always like setting time to unlimited because I don't have to worry about time. It's more about players fighting than anything. You can change the individual volumes. There is actually voices in this game, which is actually pretty cool considering it's a fighter featuring from games that feature no character dialogue or voices. Photosensitivity mode, I believe this like dulls down lighting and so on. I'm not entirely sure. Another thing, you probably saw it during the game starting up. You have to use F1 to return back to the main menu. This is going to be, they'll probably change it and add it as an option in different things. Although I think it's actually a reference to having your characters wake up, if I remember. Now, let's get started in the verses. It will be a little bit awkward, considering I have to figure out player 2 controls. Now, so far, this is sort of like Yume Nikki's area. This is going to be featuring characters primarily from this game. Yume Nikki 2 characters going to appear over here. .flow characters will appear in this area. And other characters will appear in this area. As of now, there isn't really official like side characters being prevalent, but from this, we do believe that characters from Ib, Witch's House, probably not To the Moon, Mad Father, the Crooked Man, any one of those have a chance of appearing in this game, but for the most part, it's pretty much going to be up to the original creators, as well as whether or not people really want them in the game. It's sort of just like, do fans really want this? Should we add it? Because spriting and developing animations will take time. So far, only one character has been released as of this alpha, and she hasn't really been completely finished. There are moves. She's not like glitching out between different character models and so on. So okay, there we go. Now, so far there are 10 levels, I believe. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Let's go to the balcony. Why not? Now, like I said, it's your basic 3-button N, M, and comma for player 1, which is going to be A, B, and C in that order. A is going to be your light, B is going to be your medium, and C is going to be your heavy. Now, each character is going to have movesets. Now, you see the character's model is changing. These are going to be references to the character and what items they use in the original game. Also, a lot of the main characters are going to feature weapons prevalent to their game. Like, Yume Nikki's main character uses a knife. .flow's character uses steel pipe, or iron pipe, actually. And, Yume Nikki 2's character features a chainsaw and so on. However, they will use powers prevalent in this game, like, let's see, the diary from Yume Nikki is prevalent. There is going to be comboing, as well as different powers will show up. Like this one, which I think is really cool, doing a simple Hadoken style move, which is down, down, forward, and then forward, although you have to do a lot faster than I showed you, will do a different move depending on which button you use, which is always fun. And this is like a super, I believe. Yeah. C is probably going to be your primary super.
What is this?
There is voice acting and so on. It's going to be pretty fun trying to see all the different stuff added for each character. Like I said, the frog was a effect for Yume Nikki's character. I think there's an air dash. Yeah, the air dash uses the witch model, which is pretty interesting. The bicycle, prevalent in most of the games, is sort of like the speed boost thing. Again, there isn't a whole lot added to this game as of this release, but I do think, as you can see, the TV that was inside the balcony is shift on. There's going to be different effects for each level. I think the static effect is always prevalent. I'm not entirely sure. Again, if you're a big fan of the Dreamer series, this is going to be a fun game to watch. I would say be ready for different alphas, updates, releases, and try to keep your ear and eyes to the forum. What else? Again, I would have to recommend try playing some of the Dreamers game to get a better sense of the character, the effects, and so on. Characters are being planned as of right now. Primarily, they're going to focus on the characters originally from the Dreamers series of games, but they will be introducing some outside characters. But that's most likely going to be after the game's final release. So that means you won't see Ib or Viola or the girl from Mad Father. I forget her name. I'm sorry. I haven't played that in ever. So it's basically going to be probably like a month or two at the very least after the game's final release and so on. And that's pretty much it. This is Shane from FreePCGamers, and have fun and keep dreaming.